All right, I think we're live. So, welcome to this month's live reading. My name is Lucas Flint. I am the author of The Superhero's Son, Capes Online, Minimum Wage Sidekick, Legacy Superhero, VR Hero, and a whole bunch of other. And today, tonight, I should say, we're doing a live reading of the first chapter from VR Hero number 4, Order, a superhero LitRPG adventure on Amazon and Kindle Unlimited, and also, excuse me, it's in paperback and hardcovers. No audio yet, but it is. You can get your paperbacks, your hardcovers, your ebooks. So yeah, I'm just going to, like I said, read the first chapter of this book, talk about it a bit, give my thoughts on the book, and I'll be taking questions in the chat. I'm going to read the chapter first, and if you have any questions, you can post them after. So yeah, this is the fourth VR Hero book. VR Hero is a superhero RPG series about Busker Byrne, a musician who ends up getting his mind stuck in the game and has streaming and music careers. And in this book, this is the fourth book in this series, like I said, and it basically sets up the finale, which is going to be in the fifth book. VR Hero number 4 follows Busker as he tries to rescue his somewhat mentor-type figure, Earl, who's been kidnapped by the evil cult called the Digitus. Yeah, it's a little hard for me to say right now. Excuse me. Yeah, so I guess I'll just jump into the chapter. I don't have too much to say about this book. But I'll have more to say, I guess, after I read the chapter. So we'll be reading from the interior of the paperback version. As you can see here, I got the cool little title page graphic that my cover designer gave me. I think it's really cool. And I think it's, yeah. So, all right, let's scroll down. Okay. All right, let's begin. Chapter 1. If Busker Byrne did not know any better, he would have assumed that someone had been lying to him. How else could he explain knocking on the front door where he had been told was the house of an older gentleman acquaintance of his, only to find himself face to face with a young, hot woman in tight spandex pointing a gun directly at his forehead. The cold metal barrel of the gun was icy against his forehead. He found it hard to choose whether to focus on the young woman or the gun itself. It was the more immediate problem. Its make and model impossible for him to identify at such close range. But the woman was the one who actually held it. Her thin, refined-looking index finger rested on the trigger. Although Busker had quick reflexes, he knew he didn't have quick enough reflexes to avoid getting his head blasted off from close range. So Busker chose to focus on the woman standing before him instead. She couldn't have been older than Busker himself, thus putting her age in her late teens or early 20s. As Busker had noticed before, she wore a tight blue spandex costume that revealed her rather generous curves and left little imagination. Thin, sleek-looking metal shoulder pads covered her shoulders, looking strong enough to protect her but not heavy enough to limit her movement. The woman herself had skin as dark as midnight. In fact, that appeared to be her name, based on the anti-hero Midnight name tag hovering over her head. Due to the proximity of the gun to his forehead, however, Busker could just barely see her name tag. He supposed he didn't need to read it. Somehow, her scaling face made Busker doubt that she would spare his life just because he knew her name. Licking his lips, Busker said, "This is awkward." Midnight's dark blue eyes narrowed. "Go up again and I'll blow your head off." Busker bit his lower lip. Naturally, he did have another smart aleck comment to make, in that vein to make. Something about how everyone's a critic, but why did they decide to take Midnight's threat seriously? Of course, even if he does kill me, I will respawn back at my base, Busker thought, although I'm not really in the mood to die today. Look as peaceful and non-threatening as possible. Okay, looks like we got off to the wrong start here. If you just let me explain, did you bring anyone else with you? Busker paused. He hadn't actually, although now he wished he had. His fellow bandmates had logged off for the day, while he told Spiritus, his sidekick, that he wouldn't need her help looking the old man generous earlier when I told her she could have the day off. Busker thought. Who knew that being a good employer would bite you in the butt? Seeing no reason to lie, Busker said, "No, I came by myself." Midnight's eyes came to that conclusion. I have eyes that can see and ears that can hear, said Midnight cryptically. She pressed the barrel of the gun against his head even harder. But that still doesn't make you harmless. Busker gulped. He raised his hands palms out. Lady, I'm completely unarmed. I couldn't hurt you if I wanted. You gotta trust me. That was also true. Or partly. Mostly because he'd broken his main weapon, his burning axe guitar, earlier that day. He could use his powers to hurt her, but that was too risky. Midnight probably didn't know what kind of powers that Busker had, but she seemed very perceptive. He could sneak even a tiny fireball past her, and a kaboom was right out. House, which he thought was inhabited by someone else, precisely because his weapon was broken and the house's owner was supposed to be the one who could fix it. Either Earl decided to go on another trip, or the information I was given was wrong, Busker thought, because this girl here definitely doesn't look like an old white wizard straight from an epic fantasy novel. Midnight didn't lower her gun or pointed away. Her hands held it with a surprisingly firm grip. Based on the way she held the gun, Busker guessed that Midnight must have some real-world experience using firearms. Most players with guns and capes online didn't hold them that well. I don't trust you, said Midnight. Pockets. Can't find anything except some health and energy drinks. Busker felt something but didn't dare move his head. He just noticed something small, brown, and furry crawl up Midnight's back and sit on her shoulder, carrying one of Busker's health drinks in its mouth. It looked like a larger than average squirrel. Only Busker was pretty sure it actually wasn't. It had the same face, head, body, and tail of a normal gray squirrel, but its eyes were far too intelligent. It popped off the lid of the health drink and down at one gulp, the red soda disappearing down its mouth before the squirrel tossed the empty red bottle away and rubbed its belly. Tasty, the squirrel apparently picked, looking at Midnight with fake innocent eyes. It was a synth group health drink, same as the kind you always feed me. You know how much I love cherries. Busker's eyes darted to the squirrel. Not trying to be rude. Busker smiled. Cool. That means you can remove the gun, right? No, said Midnight without missing a beat. You're an anti-hero and probably have powers of some sort or another. If I let my guard down, you'd probably take advantage of that to attack or maybe even kill me. Can't take any chances. Lady, do I look like a killer to you? Said Busker. Midnight's eyes moved to his hair. Busker scowled. Hey, at least it's not as weird as a talking squirrel. That's just bizarre. Horror rose up Busker's spine when Pick said that, but fortunately, Midnight said, Sorry, Pick, but I don't want to kill him just yet. Midnight nodded and lowered the gun from Busker's head, but then she grabbed the collar of his flaming red jacket and yanked him inside the house with surprising strength. In the next instant, Busker found himself sitting in an old-fashioned rocking chair, which creaked and swayed under his weight. Before he could even register that information, however, Midnight shoved her gun against his forehead again, forcing Busker to look up at her. Midnight looked awfully tall from his position in the rocking chair, although his senses told him that the rocking chair was just really small for some reason. But again, Busker didn't have time to pay attention to his surroundings. He had the voice to keep this crazy girl, the talking pet squirrel, from blowing his brains out. That was harder than it sounded, however, which was probably why Busker's voice of reason, which always sounded like the voice of his older brother, told him that he would die unless he carefully chose his words over the next couple of minutes. Whoa, said Busker, blinking. You're faster and stronger than you look. Looks can be deceiving, Capes Online, said Midnight, a lesson I learned a long time ago under different circumstances. Agreed, said Busker. I would never have guessed that a woman as beautiful as you could also be so violent. Violence and beauty are deeply intertwined, said Midnight. What brought you here? Answer my question before I decide you would make good fertilizer for Earl's daisies. Busker bit his lower lip. Midnight seemed pleased when he complimented her on her looks, but it was clear that flattery wasn't the way out of the situation. Deciding that honesty hadn't gotten it, tilted her head to the side. You know Earl? How? He gave me his acoustic guitar for completing a mission for him a while ago, said Busker. That's as far as I know him, though. We're not exactly best friends. His acoustic guitar, Midnight trailed off, a thoughtful look on her face. So you know the Busker burn I've heard so much about. Busker smiled. So you do know me, after all. Not surprising, seeing it's pretty much everyone knows me. Midnight shoved the gun harder against his forehead. I said I know you, not that I like you. Your music isn't that good. But do you know what Earl... Is that why you're here in his house? Said Busker, resisting the urge to look to the left and the right. He knew that any sudden movement would make Midnight blow his head off his shoulder, which was definitely not something he wanted to experience. How do you know him? We go back a long way, said Midnight. But the bare question is, how do you know where his house is? Peggy Ann, the lady who owns the cafe in town, told me, said Busker quickly. Peggy knows pretty much everyone in Fartown. She pointed me in this direction. Midnight's lips twisted in a skeptical frown. She obviously did not believe him, but she also didn't call him a liar. Instead, she said, Peggy, huh? I know her too. Good woman. maybe a little too trusting sometimes, though. Busker breathed out a sigh of relief. Do you know why I'm here, right? I do, said Midnight with a nod. Without warning, Midnight pushed the gun firmly against his forehead, causing Busker to flinch. He looked into Midnight's harsh blue eyes, cold and professional, a sort of gaze that he expected a trainee. You're here to kill Earl, said Midnight, so I'll kill you instead. Alright, that's the end of chapter 1 of VR Hero number 4 Order. So, just looking in the chat, and I don't see any comments or questions or anything, so I guess I'll be wrapping this up soon. In terms of my own thoughts, this Midnight, I pretty much came up with her on the spot. I don't want to make any, no spoilers, but she's a character, rereading the chapter, I would probably like to do more with at some point. I mean, she does appear in this book and does do some things, but obviously that's any spoilers. It's just my own thoughts off the top of my head. Like I said, it's available on Amazon and Kindle Unlimited, so you can also get your paperback and hardcover if that's how you prefer to read. Yeah, I don't have too much else to add. So the next live reading, that'll be in November, probably November. Let me look at my calendar here. November 1st or 2nd, most likely. I'm not quite sure what the next live. I may end up doing the first bait and switch book, or maybe the first legacy. I might just do the first legacy superhero book, but we'll see. I'm still debating that. I'll have that up. I'll get that scheduled probably on Monday. It's gonna be kind of busy this weekend, but anyways, yeah, that's so that'll be the next. Oh, and I'll have to do the October. I guess the next video will be the October anime, which will also be, next week. So, excuse me. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this reading, and so you can just make sure to rate, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications so you know when this video and any other videos go online in the future. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say for tonight. So, and there should be a link to the book, to Order's Amazon page where you can buy it. So just a link in the description below, so you can just scroll down. You should find it. It should be a books to read link, and yeah, I guess that's it. So thank you.